Welcome to Crown TV. Immerse yourself with a captivating audio from our stories. We provide an alternative way to read books in audio. We upload many audiobooks as possible, from bestsellers to timeless classic. Subscribe and stay tuned for new upload.
Episode 61, You're Going Down. Before anyone could react, the timer ran out. And the winner was Kathy. Minnie abruptly stopped singing. Her vision was blurred as she checked her progress bar. It had far surpassed Kathy's only 3 seconds ago. So how could her lead have disappeared so quickly? What's wrong? Is there a problem with the system? She moved closer to the camera and looked at it in disbelief. My $100,000, she thought. She had been lying when she said she didn't care. She checked the screen again. Right at the end, someone had given money to Kathy, causing her to win. Just 3 seconds earlier, Minnie had been winning and the $100,000 would have been hers. She had asked her fans to hold back for a while so that she could win a larger amount of money right at the end. And now she had lost. What are you trying to do, Adam? She asked. You think you're amazing just because you have a few dollars? You should have stepped in earlier. Minnie continued to scold him, but her live stream had disappeared. Kathy still hadn't recovered from the shock when her roommates came over. She pointed at the screen and mumbled, I won! The $100,000 is mine! When her roommates saw the screen, they realized it was true. Minnie greeted the live broadcast camera. Hey, Adam, why didn't you come to my live broadcast room? Why did you help Kathy instead? Minnie was extremely jealous of Kathy, who was getting all the attention, as well as $100,000. If everyone watched Kathy's live broadcast, wouldn't she get all the money? Kathy, hurry up and thank Adam, Minnie reminded her. He gave you $100,000. Adam, thank you, Kathy said. I really don't know what to say, but I'd like to meet you. You must be a wonderful person, and I'd like nothing more than to see you. I really want to hug you and kiss you. Of course, I know I'm not good enough for you. Kathy's mind was a mess and she was babbling. I want to see you too and kiss you, Minnie said, unwilling to be outdone. Kathy was such a schemer, but Minnie wasn't about to step aside. A message popped up on the screen announcing, Adam has left the live broadcast room. Alex looked at the phone in a daze. When he had seen Kathy's pitiful look, he hadn't been able to resist helping her. He saw the gesture as a tribute to the years they had spent together. He was just about to power off his cell phone and go to sleep when he received a message from the live stream account. It was Kathy. Adam, thank you so much. I was so worried. If not for you, I would have been humiliated. I didn't do very well in the live broadcast. Alex knew that Kathy was only fawning over him because he was rich, so he lost interest and simply replied with, Kathy was overjoyed to see that Adam had answered her. She stole a glance at Minnie, who was still broadcasting live, afraid that she would see what Kathy was doing. She messaged Adam back, Oh, and I wanted to tell you that my good friend Graham Sterling invited you to a banquet at the Golden Mansion Hotel the other day, but you didn't attend. Kathy had managed to calm down, and now that she remembered what had happened the previous day, she wanted to use this chance to meet Adam and to punish Alex. Yeah, why? Came the answer. Well, someone attended the banquet pretending to be you, and they took a diamond necklace worth over $200,000. I know who did it, and I can tell you his identity, Kathy said, grinning. Alex smiled wryly. Forget it, he responded. $200,000 is not a large amount of money for me. If he wants it that badly, then he can have it. Kathy still wanted to use Adam to have Alex arrested, but Adam didn't seem to care at all. She was slightly disappointed, but also pleasantly surprised. If Adam didn't even care about the $200,000, then he must be seriously rich. Adam, what do you think of me? Kathy hesitated for a long time before she decided to send the message. She was a rich girl, and she already had plenty of men wanting to be with her. But how could she give up such a good opportunity when it was right in front of her? You look a lot like my ex-girlfriend, Alex sent back. A former girlfriend? Kathy thought. That's great. Everyone still has some feelings for their ex-girlfriends, right? What was your ex-girlfriend like? She asked with anticipation. She's very pretty, Alex answered. But she thinks she's poor and desperately wants to get rich. And she also had sex with other men behind my back. Oh, no wonder you left her. She doesn't know how to treat a man as loyal as you. That's such a shame. But don't worry, that kind of trash never sticks around for long, and she'll end up all alone in the future. What man would want to be with someone like that? Kathy sent the message, shaking her head in disbelief. Don't say any more, came the answer. Kathy typed quickly. Why not? Don't tell me you're still thinking about her. She's not worth it. I might look like her, but I promise you, I'm different. I'm quiet, and I like to read books. I had a boyfriend, and we were together for more than 4 years before he changed his mind and decided he wanted sex. Of course, I never let him touch me, and now I'm single and waiting for the right person. Looking at the words on the screen, Alex's smile became more bitter as he grew angry. Okay, I'm tired, so I'm going to sleep, he said. Oh, of course, Adam, get some sleep. I won't disturb you any longer. Good night, Kathy replied. Alex threw his phone aside, curled into a ball, and closed his eyes. The next day, Alex and Debbie ate breakfast in the cafeteria. When they were finished, Debbie picked up her books and went to the library to study. Alex walked from the cafeteria to the classrooms. Alex! A sharp cry sounded from the tree-lined path. Alex looked and saw Kathy carrying a large black plastic bag. She struggled over with the bag and stopped in front of him. Are you happy now? She asked. Happy? Alex shrugged in confusion. I invited you to the bar the other day, she said, and you thought that I regretted leaving you, didn't you? That I asked you because I wanted you back, right? Kathy sneered. Alex smiled and turned to leave. You want to run away just because I guessed the truth? Kathy asked, stepping in front of him. Is that really what you thought? That I might actually take you back? Well, I was just trying to trick you into giving some money to that idiot Billy. I really thought that you would fall for it. You never guessed, did you? Alex looked at her with a grin, as if he was looking at a crazy woman. What the hell are you laughing at? Kathy yelled as she punched him. You're just like Billy, a rotten dog. You're not good enough for me. I made a great decision to get rid of both of you. Besides, I'm better off alone. Kathy's smile grew wider. You must be wondering why I admitted that. She shook her head and laughed. Well, I'll tell you. I found a friend from a wealthy family, and he is much richer than Billy. Yesterday, before I'd even spoken to him, he had already given me $100,000. Alex couldn't help but laugh. You think I'm lying? She scowled at him. You don't believe me? Do you want to know who he is? Who is it? Alex asked, playing along. Kathy smiled smugly and said, Adam Childs. Ha! You're scared, aren't you? She taunted him. I know Adam Childs, the man you impersonated the other day, and I've already contacted him. Rest assured, I will definitely get him to pursue the matter of you impersonating him at Mr. Sterling's banquet, and also the missing $200,000 necklace. I'll have you arrested. Alex no longer wanted to look at Kathy's arrogant face. Feeling nauseated, he pushed her and continued toward the classroom. Alex, you dog. I must tell Adam about your ugly face. You don't look very happy. You're in for it now. Just wait until you get arrested. Kathy pointed at Alex's back and cursed like a shrew. Alex went into the classroom. Thankfully, Kathy didn't take this class. He was so annoyed that he didn't want to be with her either. He held his head and let his thoughts run wild. Before he knew it, the class had ended. He followed the stream of people leaving the building. His phone rang and he saw that it was the manager of the Autumn Beauty Boutique, Russell. Sir, can you come in? Russell asked anxiously. There's a customer causing trouble and being really disruptive. Even the security guards in the mall haven't been able to do anything about it. Alex frowned. He asked Russell to hold on a while longer, and then he rushed over. Episode 62, The Unreasonable Customer. Inside the Autumn Beauty Boutique, a young woman was arguing intensely with Russell and several other staff members. A group of customers and the mall's security guards had gathered around to watch. "I bought these clothes here, so why won't you take them back?" the woman asked aggressively as she held up the clothes. "Miss, you bought those clothes over a month ago. How can we take them back now?" Russell didn't know how many times he had repeated this, but she refused to back down. "I only wore some of those clothes once or twice," she said sharply, "and some of the others I never wore at all. So why can't you just give me a refund instead of trying to bully me?" "I'm sorry," Russell said, "but if we took them back, we wouldn't be able to sell them in our stores. We can't give you a refund. There's no way we can do it." He just wanted to solve this problem as quickly as possible. "What kind of attitude is that?" she demanded. "If there is a problem, then you need to fix it. You can't just avoid it and refuse to take responsibility. I'm not just going to go away quietly." Russell hadn't given her a refund, and she was really unhappy. "If you don't refund the money right now, then I'm not leaving," she announced. "A boutique like Autumn Beauty can't simply ignore the rights of their customers. My time isn't worth much, but if you have to close for a day, you'll lose tens of thousands of dollars, won't you?" The woman's behavior was beginning to annoy the crowd, and they started accusing her of being rude and unreasonable. "You're accusing me of fraud? If you say that again, I'll sue you for slander." The woman crossed her arms over her chest. She had gone there to cause trouble, and she didn't care about being polite. "Absolutely no manners," one bystander said. "Why do some people behave like that?" another asked. "Call the police," someone suggested. "Why bother arguing with someone like that?" "Miss, please leave now, or I'll call the police." Russell took out his phone and gave the young woman a serious look. "You're absolutely shameless," the woman said, getting even angrier when Russell threatened to call the police. She pulled out a piece of clothing out of the bag, took a lighter, and set fire to the clothes, tossing them out of the door. When everyone saw this, they rushed to stamp on the clothes to put out the flames. "What's wrong with you?" Russell demanded angrily. The store was full of clothes. Was she going to burn all of them? "There are a lot of people here," he said, "and someone could have been hurt." Having had enough, he called 911. The young woman didn't seem to be at all concerned. The police station was nearby, so an officer arrived quickly and started to question the woman about burning the clothes. "I bought these clothes so they belong to me, and I'm burning them a yard away from their door," the woman said confidently. "Is there a problem? Can I not burn my own clothes?" The other customers were angry and began to tell the police officer how outrageous the woman's behavior was. But he told them that it wasn't against the law for someone to burn their clothes, so he couldn't arrest her. "I think it might be better if you just gave her the refund," the police officer advised in a low voice. "She's probably crazy, so spend the money and buy yourself some peace." Russell was annoyed at the officer's lack of help. "She wants all the money we have here," he said. "She's already worn the clothes for a month, and the tags have been removed. How can we possibly give her a refund? Besides, this isn't my shop. I'm just a manager, and I don't have the authority to make that decision." The policeman and Russell looked at the young woman with concern. The woman, on the other hand, was determined not to give up. She looked at Russell's worried expression and knew she was going to win this argument. "Excuse me, let me through." Alex walked through the crowd. The young woman glanced at Alex and her heart skipped a beat. She quickly turned around and covered her face with her hands, afraid that Alex would recognize her. "Sir, you're finally here. This is the customer who's causing trouble," Russell said, rushing over to Alex. Alex frowned and looked at the woman. His eyebrows shot up in surprise, and he exclaimed, "Kathy!" The unreasonable customer was none other than his ex-girlfriend, Kathy. Kathy slowly turned around. She looked at Alex in surprise, and then looked at Russell and stuttered, "He's your boss?" "Yes, he's our boss," Russell confirmed. She stared at Alex in disbelief. Her mind was spinning, and she couldn't understand what was going on. "You're the boss here?" she muttered, completely stunned. Alex nodded, and she felt that her world had been flipped upside down. "Hello," the police officer said, coming forward. "I think you should simply give her some money, just for the sake of getting some peace and quiet." The onlookers were against the idea. Giving money to someone like Kathy would only make her even more arrogant, and then she would try this again. They didn't believe that Alex would return the money. Businessmen were far too astute to refund clothes that had already been worn for a month. Alex glanced at Kathy, who stood there watching him. He then looked at Russell and said, "Check how much these clothes cost and refund her the full amount." Russell was stunned, as was the crowd. But Alex was the boss, so he had to do what he was told. "Okay, I'll do it now." He picked up Kathy's plastic bag, walked to the counter, and started checking prices. When he had finished, he walked over to Alex with a stack of money in his hand. It came to $20,000. "Sir, are you sure you want to refund that much?" Alex didn't answer. He merely took the money from Russell, walked over to Kathy, and handed it to her. She looked at the money and then at Alex. Anger welled up inside her. She knew Alex didn't genuinely want to refund the money. No, he was clear that this was just to insult her and trample on her self-esteem. She grabbed the money and threw it at Alex's face. "You loser! You're just trying to humiliate me, aren't you? Well, I'm not going to let you. So what if you have money? In my eyes, you are still a pile of dog shit, and I don't need your pity." Kathy seemed to have gone mad. As she berated Alex, saliva sprayed from her mouth, and her face was turning red. The money lay scattered all over the floor. Russell wanted to argue, but Alex held up a hand and stopped him. The crowd couldn't bear to watch any longer, and they started to curse loudly at Kathy. She stared at Alex with pure hatred, wishing she could tear him into pieces. Instead, she clenched her teeth, swung her fist, and punched him in the head. "She hit him!" someone exclaimed. "This is getting out of hand," someone else added. "Sir, you can have her arrested for assault," said the police officer. "I can take her to the station right now." "No, just let it go." Alex rubbed at his temples. He refused to change his mind, no matter how much the police officer or customers tried to persuade him. "Stop pretending to be a good person," Kathy said. "You aren't. I don't need someone like you to pity me, and I don't want your stinking money. Alex, just you wait. I will make you pay for humiliating me." With that, she pushed her way through the crowd and ran off. The police officer left, and the onlookers gradually dispersed. "Sir, you're too generous. You shouldn't be so forgiving towards someone like that," Russell said. "She's my ex-girlfriend," Alex said lightly. "Oh." Russell was stunned, now understanding what Alex was trying to do. "I'm sorry, boss, I overstepped." "That's okay. I have nothing to do with her now," Alex said, smiling. "And I have a new girlfriend, the one I brought last time I came in. Well, I'm going back to school now, so you can just call me if you need anything." Alex walked out of the Autumn Beauty Boutique and returned to the university to meet Debbie for lunch. Meanwhile, Kathy returned to school in a taxi. When she thought of those $20,000, she began to regret her actions and wished she had taken them. But she knew that, even if she was given a chance to do it all again, she would still throw the money at Alex's face. She could swallow her pride for money, but not in front of him. She wouldn't let him win. She walked silently along the tree-lined road. Her mind was filled with questions about Alex. She hadn't expected him to be the boss of the Autumn Beauty Boutique. Why didn't I know that before? She wondered. Where did this shop come from? Out of thin air? There were too many questions and not enough answers. But one thing was undeniable. Alex was now a rich man. Kathy was extremely upset. If she had known he was rich, then obviously she wouldn't have been stupid enough to break up with him. If they had not broken up, then Kathy would also be the boss of the Autumn Beauty Boutique. When she thought about the missed opportunity, she felt sick to her stomach. Looking around, she realized that she had reached the small square in front of the library. "Hey, look at this," the girl said. "One of the seniors is having a photographic exhibition. He took photos of various touching moments he saw on campus during his 4 years of study." She pulled Kathy over to the wall of photos. Kathy walked forward and then ground to a halt with her eyes fixed on one of the photos, her lips trembling slightly. In the photo, a boy and a girl were walking side by side. The boy's clothes were old, and there was even a hole in one knee of his pants. Although the girl's clothes weren't very expensive, they were in much better condition than the boy's. The photo was of Kathy and Alex. She lowered her head and closed her eyes. The scene in the photo vividly replayed in her mind. "Alex, if you became really rich one day, would you leave me?" she had asked. "Definitely not," he had answered. "I would give you all my bank cards, and you could help me manage my money." Kathy had smiled at him. "Really? You mean that?" His expression had turned serious. "Of course. You're the most important person in my life, and I'd do anything to make you happy." Kathy had been so proud. "You're so sweet, but if you want to become rich in this lifetime, you'll have to hurry up. Come on, let's go get some pancakes." She still vividly remembered what Alex had said back then. Who would have thought that when Alex became rich, they would no longer be together? She burst into tears. Looking at the picture, she pulled it down and tore it to pieces. Then she threw the pieces on the ground and ran away. Episode 63, I Want My Mom. Alex arrived back at the university. It was around 11:30 a.m., so he called Debbie and went to the cafeteria to meet her. He ordered some tomato soup, scrambled eggs, a burger, and 2 bowls of fries. "That's far too much." Debbie's eyes widened. For the last 2 days, she had been studying in the library. She had tied her hair into 2 thick braids that hung over her shoulders, making her look very pretty. "Debbie, you are beautiful," Alex said, unable to help himself. Surprised, Debbie lowered her head and smiled shyly. Then she raised her head again and looked at Alex, who was still standing at her with a foolish expression. She mumbled, "You're such a smooth talker." "No, I'm serious," Alex insisted. Debbie's heart melted a little. She raised her hand and lightly punched his shoulder. "Eat your lunch." "Okay." Alex picked up his spoon and started to eat his soup as he stared at Debbie. Watching her simply made him happy. "What's wrong?" he asked with concern, noticing that her happy expression had faded to one of melancholy. He froze with his spoon halfway to his mouth. "I miss my mom," Debbie said, lifting her head to look at him. "My family lives in a small town in the Northeast. Since I was young, it was just me and my mom. Now I'm at school and she's on her own. And I eat so well here while she struggles at home." Tears slid down her face. Alex moved closer to her and put his arm around her shoulders, encouraging her to lean against him. "I really miss my mom." Debbie couldn't hold it in anymore and started to cry. Her sobs were breaking Alex's heart. "Don't cry. If you miss your mom, then I'll arrange to bring her here. I promise you'll see your mom in a couple of days." Alex consoled her as he planned the best way to get her mother to New York. "Hey, Debbie, you're back." Donna and Darren walked over to their table carrying plates of food. It had been a month since they had seen Alex and Debbie. 2 days ago, they had heard that Billy had been the one who stole Mr. Morgan's money, not Alex. "Debbie, why are you crying?" Donna asked with concern. "It's nothing," Debbie said, straightening up. "I just got something in my eyes." She didn't want to confide in anyone except Alex. "Oh," Donna let it drop. "So, Alex, what exactly does your family do?" Donna and Darren were very curious about Alex. How much property did he own that he could afford to bid $1 million? If Alex's family was as powerful as they thought, then they would have to play nice with him. "They're getting suspicious," Alex thought. "I actually won the lottery," he said after thinking for a moment. "I got $2 million. I was quite nervous about having so much money, So I donated most of it and spent the rest on Debbie. The money is already gone. You won the jackpot? Donna asked. She and Darren were taken aback. About a month ago, I heard that someone won the $2 million. It was even on the news. Was that you? Donna asked. Alex laughed to himself. That would be telling, Alex said, tapping the side of his nose. Wow, I'm speechless. Donna shook her head in disappointment. She had thought that Alex was seriously rich. It's great that Alex isn't rich. Now he's back to his old self, Donna thought. And Debbie is still a loser. If Alex were a rich person, then I'd have to be nice to her. Donna and Darren felt much better. Darren sighed. It wasn't every day that you won money like that. Alex had managed it and had wasted it all. No wonder he was poor. He deserved to be. Darren didn't think much of Alex at all. Oh, Debbie, you need to be careful, Donna said. It's fine if Alex is a scatterbrain, but you come from a poor family and you should know better. You really need to help him. He had $2 million and he's given it all away. And now you're back to being poor. Donna was interrupted by a call from her mother. After talking for a few minutes, she ended the call and wrapped her arms around Darren and said, Honey, my mom said that she's coming for a visit. Your mom is coming? That's great, I want to meet her, Darren said happily. Donna smiled sweetly and then glanced at Debbie. Debbie, my mom is flying out to see me. We promised we would visit each other because we know we have the money to do that. So if you were to get more money in the future, remember to not just spend it all. If those $2 million were still around, Alex could have paid for your mom to come and see you. Or maybe not. Even if she had the money, your mom still might not have come. She's probably never even been on a plane. Hearing Donna say this, Debbie's gaze turned sharp. Don't talk about my mother. What? I'm only speaking the truth, Donna said, smiling. I was going to ask my mother to bring yours with her this time, but with your attitude, I think I'd better not. Really? When Debbie thought about seeing her mother, she grew excited. Her mother hadn't flown before, so Debbie would feel more comfortable if her mother could travel with Donna's mother. Of course, Donna said casually. I was planning on paying for your mom's flight. After all, we're from the same town, so I understand your family's situation. Donna, I'm sorry, I was being too sensitive earlier, Debbie said. Alex tugged her closer, and she lightly shook her head. Please have your mother bring mine here. I'll do whatever you want. She's so weak, Donna thought. It's no big deal, and she's taking it so seriously, as if this is the only thing that matters to her. Since you're so sincere, I guess I can arrange it, Donna said. Thank you, Donna. Debbie was delighted. Seeing Debbie's happy expression, Donna looked down on her even more. Just this small favor was enough to please the girl. Donna felt superior once again, knowing that Debbie would always be beneath her. Don't worry, I'll give you money for Debbie's mother, Alex said. He didn't like Donna's attitude. There's no need, it's only $1,000, and we have plenty of money, right, honey? Donna asked Darren sweetly. Darren nodded and then glanced at Alex with disdain. He only said that because he didn't have enough money to pay for the plane ticket right now. If he had, he would have told us. The most important thing we need to sort out is the accommodation. We didn't say we want everyone to stay together, Alex said with a faint smile. What do you mean? Both mothers are traveling together. Do you plan to make them stay in different places? I can't let you do that, Darren said. Fine. Then we'll all stay together. Is that okay with you? Alex was getting impatient. Do you want to stay in a dingy little hotel? That'd be too embarrassing. Darren sneered at Alex. Oh, honey, Donna said. I really want to show off to my mother about how well we're doing. She smiled maliciously. So why don't we let Alex arrange the accommodation? I'm sure he'll find something that isn't too bad. Okay, Alex, you can arrange the lodging, Darren said, and then muttered softly. I don't think this'll be anything to brag about. After that, Donna and Darren felt it was beneath them to sit at the same table as Alex and Debbie, so they got up and left. Alex and Debbie finished eating. When they left the cafeteria, Debbie received a call from her mother, saying that Donna's mother had already called and was bringing her to New York the next day. Debbie was overjoyed to hear her mother's voice. After walking Debbie to her dormitory, Alex dialed Sam Woodsworth's number and told him to reserve 2 rooms in the Berkeley Hotel for Debbie's mother. "For your girlfriend's mom?" Sam said anxiously. After pondering for a while, he said, "Mr. Ambrose, I don't think Berkeley Hotel is good enough. I'll arrange a better hotel for you." "Oh?" Alex was a little curious. Judging from Sam's tone, the hotel he was talking about was quite fancy. "Which hotel?" "The Azalea Guest House," Sam told him. "It's not a hotel exactly. Even with plenty of money, it's hard to get a room there. It's very exclusive." Episode 64, Mothers and Daughters. Hearing Sam's words, Alex agreed. Debbie's mother rarely came to New York, so she should have the best of everything. The next day at 5 p.m., a flight landed in New York. Donna's mother, Lisa, walked through the airport. She was a middle-aged woman, dressed in fashionable clothes, a sun hat and sunglasses, and her skin was covered with a thick layer of powder. Looking around, she was filled with anticipation. This time, she had brought along her 2 favorite sisters, who walked behind her. This was the first time they had flown into a bustling city like New York, and they were even more excited than Lisa. "We've finally arrived," Lisa said. "This airport is so large and modern. And look at that skyscraper over there. It's so different from our little town." She looked around the airport. "You're right, it's beautiful," her sister Fiona said. "Lisa, if your daughter can find a local rich boy, then she won't ever have to leave here." "That's true," her sister Natalie agreed. "When we see Donna later, we'll have to remind her how important it is to find a rich young man. If we had gone to university, we might have found one, and then we wouldn't still be living in our town." "We can't tell her who to marry. It's up to her," Lisa said, although she had already decided to remind Donna to find a rich boyfriend. They walked out of the airport building. "I'm a little hungry. What about you 2? Lisa said, patting her stomach. Her sisters were also hungry. They had left their town early in the morning and then rushed straight to the airport. They had only eaten a few snacks on the plane. "Come on, let's have something to eat. I have some homemade buns," said the woman who had been following them. She smiled and opened her backpack, preparing to take out the buns. This was Debbie's mother, Carla, who was wearing a green shirt, black shorts, and a pair of old tennis shoes. Although she wasn't dressed elegantly, she still looked neat. But working outdoors for so many years had darkened her skin slightly and caused shallow wrinkles to appear on her face. "Put your backpack away. Aren't you embarrassed?" Lisa asked. The previous day, she had talked on the phone with her daughter, Donna, saying that she wanted to come to New York for a couple of days and wished to visit her. She hadn't expected Donna to ask her to bring Carla, whose daughter was also attending Preston University. She'd had no choice but to bring Carla along. Of course, she knew her daughter wasn't that kind, so she had no idea why Donna had wanted to help her friend's mother. "Quick, put it away," Fiona said to Carla with a frown. "Do you want people to know that you're just a simple country woman?" Carla closed her backpack and put it back on her shoulders. She was quite confused. Was it that embarrassing to eat buns? "If you don't want to embarrass us, then walk a bit further back," Natalie said, glaring at Carla. "If we walk with you, people might laugh at us." She turned to speak to Lisa. "Can't we just leave her behind? We already gave her the money to pay for the plane ticket. She's already taken advantage of your good nature." Lisa glanced contemptuously at Carla through her sunglasses and snorted. "Afraid not. No matter what, her daughter is still a friend of my daughter's. Let her tag along. We'll just ignore her once we get to where we're going." Lisa and her sisters walked on ahead, chatting together. Carla followed further back, walking by herself. "Lisa, are there really a lot of male escorts in New York?" Fiona asked. Lisa had plenty of money, and besides seeing her daughter, she had plans of her own this trip. Otherwise, she wouldn't have brought her 2 sisters with her. "Of course, lots. Haven't you seen pictures on the news? There are lots of women's clubs here. They're everywhere. Lisa tried to look knowledgeable, but she was only pretending to be cool in front of her sisters. Whether she could find such a club during this trip in New York would be a matter of luck. Well, when you put it like that, I'm relieved, Fiona said happily. Since I was young, I've dreamt of using my money to sleep with a male escort, and now I'm going to finally do it. Stick with me, Lisa said confidently. You might not get any sleep, but I promise you'll get into bed with a handsome young man. Shh, lower your voice, there's someone behind you, Natalie whispered, glancing at Carla, who still walked behind them. It was embarrassing to talk so loudly about such things. Don't worry, Lisa said disdainfully. If she dares tell anyone, I'll just leave her in New York and see how she manages to get herself back home. And even if she does, I'll deal with her there. She won't dare to say anything. The two sisters were reassured. Hey, isn't it a little embarrassing for women our age to go out looking for young men? Fiona asked, and then the three women laughed loudly. They walked to the main street outside the airport, talking and laughing. They were puzzled when a BMW stopped in front of them. Then Donna, Debbie, Alex, and Darren got out of the car. Donna, it's you. Lisa looked her daughter over carefully. They were about to greet each other properly, but they were interrupted by other voices. Mom, you really came. I'm so glad to see you. Debbie held her mother's hand. Me too, her mother answered. It's been 2 years, and this is the first time I've come to visit you. I feel so guilty. My beautiful daughter, let me have a good look at you. You're looking well. Debbie and Carla spoke as if no one else was present. But then they noticed everyone staring at them, and immediately stopped talking. Sorry for disturbing you, Lisa said awkwardly to Lisa. Do you think this is all about your family? Lisa glared at her. Do you have to be so loud? Mom, let me introduce you to someone, Donna said, grinning as she pulled Darren next to her. This is Darren, my boyfriend. Oh. Lisa was stunned for a moment as she took a closer look at Darren. He was handsome and seemed to come from a good family. He made a good first impression. Nice to meet you, Darren said, smiling. He looked over at the car. I bought this BMW a year ago. My dad said that when I get married, he'll buy me a Porsche. Oh, I see. Lisa nodded, walked to the front of the BMW and ran her hand over it, feeling proud. She had planned to remind her daughter to find a rich boyfriend, but Donna had already found one. And even better, he was also young and fit, so he was worthy of being with Donna. Who is this young man? Lisa asked when she saw Alex. Oh, him? He's Debbie's boyfriend, Alex, Donna said before Alex could answer. As usual, her expression was one of ridicule. Carla couldn't help but look at Alex. Debbie's family is poor, but they're still from our hometown, Donna explained. That's why I asked you to bring her mother with you. Alex's situation is similar to Debbie's, and he doesn't have much money, so I asked Darren to bring them here. Is that so? Lisa relaxed when she heard her daughter say that Alex's situation was the same as Debbie's. Carla's daughter was only worth a poor loser. There was no comparison with Donna's family. Debbie, let me give you some advice, Lisa said earnestly. You know your family's situation. They're going to university to learn and get a good job, not to find a partner. You're not like my Donna, who could leave university and my family could still find work for her. But you need to keep your feet on the ground and not try reaching for the stars. It's the same for you, Carla, Lisa continued. Debbie is young, but you're old enough to know better. If you continue as you are, then your family is destined to be poor forever. Alex couldn't bear to listen any longer. I can't let this go, he thought. Even though it's not my family, I still have to say something. I can't let her mock Debbie and her mother like that. Just as he was about to speak, Debbie stopped him and shook her head. Watch your temper, young man, Lisa said to him. I was only telling the truth, and I said it for their own good. So what are you unhappy about? Lisa was rich in her town, and no one dared to talk back to her. Seeing that a loser like Alex intended to argue with her made her angry. She's right, Fiona added. Even if her words were a little harsh, she's older than you, so have some respect. She shook her head and muttered, College students. Debbie, keep an eye on your boyfriend, Natalie said, squinting at Alex, and see what kind of man he is. If he doesn't learn to behave properly, then get yourself a new boyfriend. In the end, Carla apologized to Lisa. Okay, Darren said to Lisa, you must be hungry after your trip. I know a good restaurant with great food, so let's go and eat. See, Darren is a polite young man looking after us, Lisa said. He's much better than some people around here. Let's go, I'm really hungry. She got angrier the more she looked at Alex, so she ignored him and got into Darren's car. Alex, you go with Debbie and her mom, Darren said. I'll treat everyone to a meal, so you don't need to pay. He gave them an evil smile and added, but my car is full, so I can't drive you there. Can you take a taxi? Do you have enough money? If you don't, I can give you some. No need, Alex said plainly. Good. Okay, I've never been to the Sunset Restaurant before, Darren said, and you guys are really lucky to enjoy a great meal there for free. He smiled proudly, got into his BMW and drove away. Thinking about Darren's attitude, Alex didn't want to go. But since he had booked a room for them at the Azalea Guest House, why shouldn't he accept the meal? But why does this restaurant sound so familiar, he wondered. As if she had heard him, Debbie whispered, That's the restaurant I worked in. Episode 65, Being Important. The Sunset Restaurant was really busy when Darren and the others arrived. It was packed, and there were no tables available. More than 10 guests were already waiting to be seated. It seemed that it would be at least half an hour before they could get a table. I'll go talk to the manager and see if we can pay him to find us a table, Lisa said. She didn't want to wait any longer. She was hungry, and she was an important person in her town. She couldn't be expected to wait. Mom, let's just wait, Donna said. The Sunset Restaurant was famous in New York, and it was always difficult to get a table. Lisa didn't listen to her daughter. With her reputation and her eloquence, she was certain she would be able to get the manager to get them a table quickly. At the front desk, she spoke to the manager and indicated that she would give him an extra $500 to arrange a table for her. But the manager wasn't interested. With such a big restaurant, he probably didn't even need the money. In the end, Lisa was forced to give up. Mrs. Walters, why don't you sit here and I'll try, Darren said, standing up. They had all seen Lisa being embarrassed in front of the manager, so he had to do something. Otherwise, Donna, Natalie, and Fiona might blame him. Darren walked toward the manager, feeling quite nervous. He wasn't that important, so would the manager embarrass him too? He had heard his father talk about the manager of the Sunset Restaurant several times, but he had no idea how well they knew each other. Now that he had been forced into this situation, Darren had to try. Hello, Mr. Wood, he said politely as he walked up to the manager. I'm Darren Rogers, and my father is Gary Rogers from Rogers Construction Company. I've brought a few friends here for dinner, and wonder if you would find us a table. The owner of Rogers Construction Company? Mr. Hood knew that Mr. Rogers was just the owner of a medium-sized business. Compared to the other guests at the restaurant, the Rogers family simply wasn't important. He was just about to tactfully reject Darren's request when a few more guests walked through the door. Alex, Debbie, and Carla entered the restaurant and saw the others sitting in the waiting area, so they went over to join them. Mr. Hood was stunned when he saw Alex and Debbie. From the behavior of Debbie and the middle-aged woman, they were mother and daughter. It was obvious that they knew Darren's friends. On an earlier occasion, when Bruno had caused trouble for Debbie, Alex had ruthlessly beaten him with a wine bottle. Bruno had even called Sam Woodsworth and asked for help in dealing with Alex. But when Sam had heard Alex's name, everything had changed. Not only did Alex not get beaten up, but Bruno had to grovel and then clean the floor with his tongue. Alex was someone that even Sam Woodsworth was afraid of, and he seemed to be here with Darren. If the manager didn't help them find a table, Alex might get angry, and then the entire restaurant would be in trouble. Remembering what had happened to Bruno, the manager trembled in fear. He swallowed hard. "Mr. Hood?" Darren asked, puzzled. What was wrong with the manager? "Oh." Mr. Hood's gaze shifted to Darren's face. "You want a table, right? Sorry, we made a mistake. I'll arrange something for you and your friends right now. Please wait." "Okay," Darren agreed, and Mr. Hood immediately hurried off to make the arrangements. Darren was confused. When did my dad become so powerful? He thought. He had been worried that since his dad's company was only a medium-sized business, Mr. Hood might not have respected it. He hadn't expected Mr. Hood to agree so quickly when he heard Darren's father's name. Looks like my father has quite a bit of prestige in New York City after all, he thought. With that in mind, Darren returned to the waiting area. "Well, why do you think we're still just sitting here?" Lisa was saying to Alex, clearly annoyed. "This is a restaurant, not a house, so you can't just eat wherever you want." Then she looked toward Darren. "Darren, it's fine if the manager doesn't have a table. I'm not that hungry, so we can wait for half an hour." "Hey, Mrs. Walters," Darren said proudly. "I've arranged it with Mr. Hood, and he's gone to find us a table." "Oh!" Lisa was a little taken aback. "You're really something, Darren. I tried and the manager wouldn't listen to me. You're gone for only a minute or two, and you've already got the manager to agree. Impressive." She glared at Alex as she continued. "Unlike some people who asked why we were still sitting here. If you have the power to do something about it, then go and get the manager to give us a table. If you don't have the power, then keep quiet." She crossed arms and turned her back on Alex, who merely sighed. A waitress came over and asked them to follow her upstairs to a private room. The door was labeled 888. Inside, the room was spacious and bright. It was decorated with red carpets, yellow chairs, and two expensive-looking porcelain vases that were as tall as a person. Looking at the room, Darren started to panic. He asked the waitress, "What does this room cost?" "Oh, this is our most luxurious room," she said politely. "Prices start at $8,000. $8,000? Darren was shocked and more than a little nervous. He had thought that this meal would cost $2,000 at the most. But $8,000? That was a lot. "Darren, how about we go to a different room?" Lisa suggested. She had never spent so much on a meal before, and Darren and Donna were still students. How could they possibly afford to spend that much money? "It's okay, Mrs. Walters," Darren said, wiping sweat from his forehead. "I like this room. Let's stay here." He didn't want to be humiliated in front of everyone. "Sir, there's nothing to pay," the waitress said with a smile. "Mr. Hood said that you were honored guests, and we're happy to have you in our restaurant. Your meal is on the house." Free! Darren felt like a prisoner who had suddenly been pardoned on his way to be executed. He was overjoyed. He looked at the waitress and noticed that she seemed a little starry-eyed, which was a little amusing. "Please take a seat," she said. "We'll bring your meal shortly. They are all our best dishes." She smiled and left the room. "Darren, you really do command respect," Lisa said, sitting down. "Not only have you got us into the most luxurious private room, but you don't even have to pay for it." She was extremely satisfied with this powerful boyfriend of Donna's. "Exactly," Fiona agreed. "What does your family do? Why are they so respected?" She was very interested in Darren. "My family has a small construction company, and it only earns $10 million a year. It's barely worth mentioning," Darren said casually. "$10 million is not worth mentioning?" Natalie smiled at him. Then she glanced at Alex, looked him up and down, and asked, "Young man, what does your family do? Do you earn several tens of thousands of dollars a year?" "My family has no business, so how could I earn tens of thousands of dollars?" Alex asked, not interested in talking to snobbish people. They all mocked Alex for not having enough money. The waitress returned and brought several dishes to the table, including mushroom soup, pork chops, steak, salmon, and fruit salad. They didn't know which knives and forks to use, but Donna showed them what to do. Debbie and Alex already seemed to know and helped explain it to Carla and Lisa. But weren't they just country bumpkins like Carla? How do you two know which knives and forks to use? Lisa asked in disbelief. Have you eaten in places like this before? I used to work here part-time, Debbie said flatly. Ha! For a minute there, I thought you ate in places like this all the time, but no, you were working for someone else. Lisa sneered, then muttered softly, No matter how much you know about fancy cutlery, it's a waste of time. It's not like you'll get much chance to eat expensive meals. The door opened, and Mr. Hood came in, bowing his head slightly. How was your meal? He asked politely, his gaze locked onto Alex's face. Of course, he didn't dare make eye contact. Very good, Darren said, standing up and shaking Mr. Hood's hand. Thank you for your hospitality. I will remember it. Mr. Hood is so polite, he thought. He even came over just to ask me if my food was okay. Ah. Mr. Hood wanted to speak to Alex, but Darren didn't let go of his hand and was still standing there smiling at him. Since he didn't know how close Darren and Alex were, he couldn't object. He simply smiled amicably. Darren talked for a while, and then he finally let go of the manager. To welcome everyone, I've picked out 2 special bottles of red wine, Mr. Hood told them, gesturing to where a waiter had already brought in the 2 bottles. Smiling, he picked up a bottle. He wanted to place it in front of Alex to show his respect. Mr. Hood, you're too kind, Darren said. How can I accept? He broke off in surprise when he looked at the bottle. Whoa! This is a Louis XIV from 1992. This is really expensive. Thank you, Mr. Hood. How did you know that I've always wanted to taste this?
Thank you for listening to Crown TV. Please don't forget to subscribe, share and turn on the notification button.